What happens when two of television's most powerful women collide in a heated exchange that nobody saw coming? Today, we're diving into the explosive moment that left viewers speechless and changed daytime television forever. You won't believe what unfolds, so make sure to hit that subscribe button and let me know in the comments what you think about this jaw-dropping confrontation. The studio lights blazed down on the familiar set of The View as the show's hosts took their positions around the iconic table. Joy Behar adjusted her reading glasses, shuffling through her notes with the confidence of someone who had been doing this for decades. The energy in the studio felt different that morning, charged with an electricity that the crew couldn't quite place their fingers on. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our very special guest, media mogul and philanthropist Oprah Winfrey. Announced the show's announcer as thunderous applause erupted from the studio audience. Oprah walked onto the set with her signature grace, waving to the crowd before taking her seat at the guest chair. She wore a crisp white blazer that seemed to glow under the studio lights, her presence commanding immediate attention from everyone in the room. "Oprah, it's so wonderful to have you here with us today," said Whoopi Goldberg, the show's moderator, with genuine warmth in her voice. "Thank you for having me, Whoopi. It's always a pleasure to be here with you ladies," Oprah replied, her famous smile lighting up the set. Joy Behar leaned forward slightly, her expression serious. "Oprah, I have to ask you about something that's been bothering me for quite some time now. Your recent interview special seemed to give a platform to some pretty controversial figures without really challenging them on their problematic statements. The temperature in the room seemed to drop several degrees." Oprah's smile remained, but her eyes sharpened with focus. "I'm sorry, Joy, but I'm not sure I follow what you're getting at. Could you be more specific about which interview you're referring to?" "You know exactly which one I'm talking about." Joy shot back, her voice gaining an edge that made the other hosts exchange uncomfortable glances. "The one where you sat there nodding along while your guest made claims that were completely unfounded and potentially harmful to millions of people." Oprah's posture straightened and she tilted her head slightly. "Joy, I think you might be mischaracterizing what happened in that interview. My role as an interviewer is to create a space where people feel comfortable sharing their truth, even when that truth might be difficult to hear." "Their truth," Joy's voice rose, causing several audience members to shift in their seats. "Oprah, there's a difference between someone's truth and actual facts. When someone comes on your show and spreads misinformation and you just sit there smiling and nodding, you're giving credibility to dangerous ideas." The other hosts sat in stunned silence as the tension between the two women escalated. Sonani host looked like she wanted to jump in, but couldn't find an opening, while Sarah Haynes appeared frozen in her chair. Oprah's voice remained calm, but carried a steel undertone that veteran viewers had rarely heard before. "Joy, I've been doing this for over 4 decades. I think I understand the responsibility that comes with having a platform. What you're describing isn't journalism, it's advocacy. And there's a difference. Don't you dare lecture me about journalism." Joy fired back, her cheeks flushing red. "I've been in this business long enough to know when someone is hiding behind false neutrality to avoid taking a they didn't cut to commercial. That was the first sign something had gone wrong." The red recording light stayed on, burning quietly above the main camera, while the studio audience, normally restless, whispering, coughing, fell into an unnatural stillness. Even the warm-up producer stopped smiling. Oprah didn't speak right away. She leaned back instead, just slightly. Enough to signal distance, enough to signal calculation. Joy noticed it before anyone else did. She had spent decades reading rooms, sensing when laughter was coming, when applause was earned, when a conversation could be bent back into something safe. But this moment didn't bend. It hardened. The air thickened. The kind of silence that doesn't feel empty. It feels loaded. "Interesting," Oprah said finally, her voice calm but stripped of warmth. "That's an interesting way to frame responsibility." Joy tilted her head, a half smile appearing out of habit, the kind she'd used 1,000 times to deflect tension. "It's not framing. It's perspective." Oprah's eyes didn't blink. Perspective. The word, lingered. Around them, the co-hosts froze in place like figures in a painting no one wanted to finish. One of them adjusted her cue cards even though she wasn't scheduled to speak. Another glanced toward the control room, silently begging for a countdown that never came. Oprah leaned forward now, not aggressively, deliberately. "You know," she said, folding her hands, "I've always been fascinated by how people confuse volume with conviction." A murmur rippled through the audience, then vanished as quickly as it came. Joy felt her chest tighten. This wasn't the Oprah she expected. This wasn't the reassuring voice, the affirming nod, the gracious pivot to common ground. This was something else. "You're implying something," Joy said. "Why don't you just say it?" Oprah smiled. Not a friendly smile, a measured one. "I think I just did." The silence stretched. 5 seconds. 10. Somewhere off camera, a producer whispered into a headset, asking if they should intervene. No one answered. Joy straightened in her chair. She'd built a career on never backing down first. "If you're suggesting that I don't believe what I say," she replied, her voice tightening, "then you're wrong." Oprah tilted her head. "No," she said softly. "I'm suggesting that belief has become performance." That landed. Hard. Joy felt heat rush to her face. "That's rich," she snapped, coming from someone who turned vulnerability into a brand. The word brand hit the table like a dropped glass. A few audience members inhaled sharply. Oprah didn't react immediately. Instead, she looked down. Not in shame, in thought. When she looked back up, her expression had changed. The warmth was gone completely now, replaced by something colder, sharper. "You know what the difference is?" Oprah asked. Joy crossed her arms. "Enlighten me." "I built something," Oprah said. "And then I stepped away from it enough times to ask whether it still mattered." Joy laughed. "But it came out brittle. And you decided it did?" "I decided," Oprah replied, "that meaning doesn't come from applause." That was the moment the room shifted. Joy felt it. The audience felt it. Even the cameras seemed to lean in. "You're lecturing," Joy said, "on a show built around discussion." "No," Oprah corrected. "I'm responding. There's a difference." Joy pushed back her chair slightly. The legs scraped against the floor, loud in the silence. "So, what is this really about?" she demanded, "because it sounds like you came here ready for a fight." Oprah's gaze didn't waver. "I came here expecting honesty," she said. "I didn't expect defensiveness." Joy stood. Not fully, just enough for the movement to register. "You don't get to question my integrity," she said, her voice rising despite herself. "Not like this." Around them, time felt suspended. One of the co-hosts opened her mouth, then closed it again. Oprah rose too, slowly. No rush, no anger. But when she stood, the power dynamic changed instantly. The table between them suddenly felt too small, too flimsy, like a prop that might collapse under the weight of what was happening. "I'm not questioning your integrity," Oprah said quietly. "I'm questioning your evolution." Joy's hands trembled, just slightly. "Careful," she warned. Oprah stepped closer, not invading, commanding. "Careful is what happens when people stop growing," Oprah replied. That was when the studio truly went silent. No whispers, no rustling, just breath. Held. Joy looked around, searching for backup, for a nod, a word, anything. She found none, and somewhere deep down, she realized this conversation wasn't going to end the way she planned. Not at all. The camera light stayed red, and no one dared to turn it off. What viewers never saw was what happened during the pause. Because there was a pause. 30 seconds. An eternity in live television. The host tried to reset. A producer stood just off stage, palms out, silently begging both women to sit back down. Joy didn't see him. Her focus was locked on Oprah, on the calm, on the control. "You think you're above this?" Joy said under her breath. "Above all of us." Oprah heard every word. "I think," she replied, just as quietly. That comfort can become a cage. Joy laughed again, but this time there was no humor in it. You don't know what it's like to sit here every day, to take hits, to be judged in real time. Oprah nodded once. I know exactly what it's like. Joy shook her head. No? You get to leave. You get to choose when to engage. And you get to choose how, Oprah said, every single day. That was when something broke, not loudly, internally. Joy reached for the microphone clipped to her jacket, fingers brushing against it as if testing its weight. You think I don't stand for anything? She asked. You think this is all noise? Oprah didn't answer immediately. She glanced toward the audience instead. Faces rapt, waiting. I think, Oprah said finally, that standing still can look like standing strong until the world moves past you. Joy's breath hitched. That's not fair. No, Oprah agreed. It's not comfortable either. A stage manager appeared at the edge of the set, whispering urgently into a headset. The director's voice crackled through the control room speakers. We need to break, now. But no one moved. Joy unclipped the microphone. The click echoed. Sharp. Final. Gasps rippled through the audience. This, Joy said, holding it in her hand, isn't a conversation anymore. Oprah watched her carefully. And what is it? She asked. A performance, Joy said. And I'm done being part of it. She placed the microphone on the table. Not gently, not violently, decisively. The sound rang out, reverberating through the set. One of the co-hosts whispered, Joy, wait. Joy didn't. She turned toward the exit. Each step deliberate, measured. But as she reached the edge of the stage, she stopped, just once. She turned back. Oprah was still standing where she'd been, hands folded, expression unreadable. You used to make people feel braver, Joy said. Now you make them feel smaller. A murmur rose from the crowd. Oprah didn't respond. Joy nodded to herself, as if sealing the moment, then disappeared behind the curtain. The audience didn't applaud. They didn't boo. They didn't breathe. The chair Joy had occupied sat empty, loudly empty. For a moment, Oprah remained standing, staring at the space where Joy had been. Then she exhaled and sat. The co-hosts looked shell-shocked. One of them leaned forward, voice trembling. Well, that happened. Oprah turned to her. Conversations don't always end neatly, she said. Another co-host tried to soften the moment. Maybe she just needed a break. Oprah shook her head. No, she said. She needed distance from the mirror. In the control room, producers argued in hushed voices. Cut the feed, roll ads, salvage something. But the director hesitated. Ratings monitors spiked. This wasn't chaos. This was lightning. Oprah folded her hands again. You know what's hardest? She said, not addressing anyone in particular. Watching someone confuse safety with truth. The audience leaned in. No one blinked. Somewhere backstage, Joy stood frozen, staring at a monitor replaying the last few seconds on a delay. She didn't look angry. She looked stunned, as if she hadn't expected to actually walk away, as if she hadn't expected the door to close behind her with such finality. Back on set, Oprah rose once more. This, she said calmly, is why growth matters. The red light stayed on, and the world kept watching. By the time the show finally cut to commercial, it was already too late. Clips were circulating. Silence was trending. The empty chair became a symbol before anyone could explain it. Back on set, the energy had shifted completely. No laughter, no banter, just the hum of studio lights and the weight of something irreversible. One co-host cleared her throat. Do you think she'll come back? Oprah didn't hesitate. No. The word landed softly. Final. Another co-host frowned. That seems harsh. Oprah met her gaze. Harsh as pretending nothing happened. The audience, still seated, hadn't moved. Some clutched phones, Others stared straight ahead, unsure if they were witnessing history or fallout. Oprah turned toward them. "I don't believe in comfort television," she said. "I believe in honest television." She picked up her bag, smoothing the strap over her shoulder. "This wasn't about winning," she continued. "It was about revealing." A producer approached cautiously. "Ms. Winfrey, are you sure you want to leave on this note?" Oprah smiled. "This note was written long before today." She stepped off the stage. Behind the scenes, Joy sat alone in a dressing room, staring at her reflection. The microphone lay on the counter beside her. She didn't reach for it. She didn't speak. She simply watched the door, as if expecting it to open again. It didn't. Hours later, commentators would argue. Who crossed the line? Who held their ground? Who changed? But one question lingered above all others. Not spoken on air. Not answered backstage. Was that the end of an era? Or just the moment the masks finally slipped? And that's where the story freezes. Right before the fallout we haven't seen yet.